Right, let's have a chat about the stripe section. Now, it's very clear that I'm not up to 329 stitches on my needles yet, but I just wanted to chat with you about doing the stripes, carrying the yarn up the sides, that kind of thing. So when you get to the point where you're going to start working in the very beautiful Chantilly, to start with, you're going to work 2 rows. And so let's just go ahead and do that, and we'll discuss carrying yarn up the sides as we go. I think that's a good idea, because basically there are times when you can and times when you can't, as far as I can tell. But also I just want to just sort of show you that you just kind of carry on really, regardless of what colour yarn you're knitting with. So I've got to the end of a wrong side row, and let's pretend I've got enough stitches on my needle to start working my stripe section. And my stripe section tells me that I've now got to work 2 rows with Chantilly. So there's no change at all in our stitch pattern. We're going to carry on regardless of the colour there. So we're just going to carry on working our right side row as we have been. Now all I've done is I've put my needle through as if to knit, and I've made a little loop, and I'm going to put that over the needle and carry on. Now it is loose to begin with, but you can tighten that up as you work, and it will hold steady after a little bit. So right, so I've done my first knit stitch, second and third, and you can see I'm just carrying on my pattern as if, you know, as if I'm carrying on, but all that's happened is I've changed the colours. So I'm at that knit 1, yarn over, knit section, and I'll go all the way across. So that's all I'm going to do, is I'm working 2 rows in this new colour. So I will do that, and I'll see you when I get back across here after completing a wrong side row, because then we need to look at carrying the yarn up the side. So I'll do that now. Okay, so I'm on my last few stitches of a wrong side row, just doing my yarn over, finishing on those 3 garter edge stitches. So if I turn that over, I can give the edge a little pull and tighten it up, and it will start tightening up shortly, because what I'm now going to do, so I've done my 2 rows in Chantilly, so yarn B, and I'm now back to being asked to do 4 rows with yarn A. Well, I've still got yarn A attached here, so I'm just going to drop yarn B and pick up yarn A and carry on. Now that is still attached, and I think it still needs to be attached because we're going to be using it shortly in 4 rows time. But what I want you to do is, after 2 rows back with yarn A, I want you to carry yarn B up the side again, and I'm going to just show you how to do that. So first of all, I'm just putting my needle as if to knit through the Chantilly, or Chantilly, I don't know how you say it, but I'm just going to carry on knitting now with Knightsbridge, and I'm saying it like that because I'm not 100% confident it's what it's called, because I can't hold it in my head for some reason. I think it is, but you can see I've just carried on. I've just changed back to our regular colour, and off I go. So I'm just going to do 2 rows with this one. See you back at this edge so we can talk about carrying this yarn up for the next bit. Okay, so here I am at the end of the second or a wrong side row of yarn A. Let me just stop here and show you. So you can see my 2 rows of Chantilly are in there, and I've got 2 rows of Knightsbridge or yarn A here, but I need 4 rows of that, so I need to go and repeat that. And what I wanted to say to you is, Chantilly is still attached here, and we are going to be using it again after these next 2 rows of Knightsbridge. So all I'm going to do is twist. Can you see the Chantilly is going over the top of the Knightsbridge? And then I will pick up the Knightsbridge and carry on knitting. And what it's done, you can see here, it's going to just carry that yarn up so that it is kind of coming up the work with me so it will be there on that side ready to use when I need to use it again in 2 rows time. So I will do 2 more rows in yarn A, and then we will be back to I think 3 rows in yarn B, and that sort of changes things. So let me do 2 rows in yarn A, and we'll talk about that when I get there. Okay, so you can see there's my lovely little 2 row stripe of Chantilly, and here's 4 rows on top of it of Knightsbridge. Chantilly is still attached and ready to work, and we're going to work 3 rows this time, and once I've worked 3 rows I'm going to come back to you again because things will have changed a bit. So I will work 3 rows in the Chantilly, just carrying it up as before, just picking it up and starting to knit with it. I'm going to work the 3 rows and then we'll meet again at the end and have a little chat then. Right, I'm just coming along now to the end of my 3rd row with Chantilly, and we will see what is what. Okay, so it's very pretty, getting a little bit of stripe going on. So my Chantilly is on this side of my work. Okay, and my Knightsbridge is on this side of my work, and we've done 3 rows in Chantilly, and we now need to go back to doing 3 rows in the Knightsbridge, and unfortunately it's right over the other side of my work, and on your work it's going to be even further away because you're going to have 80 bazillion stitches at this point. So unfortunately, lads, there is nothing for it but to cut the yarn and join it again over on this side. Okay, and so let me think. We're going to do 3 rows again, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, which means the same thing is going to happen when we're ready to use Chantilly again. It's going to be on the wrong side of the work, so you can cut this yarn as well. So we've just got a couple of extra ends to sew in, but I always think it's worth it when you get a nice kind of interesting pattern out of it. So I've worked, let's just have a little recap. I've worked my 2 rows of Chantilly, 4 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4 of Knightsbridge, 3 rows of Chantilly. I'm now going to work 3 rows again of Knightsbridge, and then we're going to be back to even numbers again. So when we join our yarns back in, we'll be able to carry the yarns up the side as we had when we started here. Okay, so that's all I really wanted to show you. Basically, in the early and late sections, you can carry the yarn up the side. When you've got these odd numbers of rows in the middle, unfortunately, you're going to have to cut the yarn. So that's all there really was to show you about stripes. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my stripe section so that we are ready to move on to the lace, which I'm very, very excited about. So I'll finish the stripes and we'll reconvene when it's lace time. Okay, so when you've done your striped sections, your working edge is going to look like that, and you're going to have your 3 sort of increasing in size stripes looking like so. So that's that for the stripes. It's now time to move on to lace.